A new season of the Right Along with Vanessa morning show starts now. This week's episode is sponsored by Dollhouse of Tampa Salon and Studio. Find your inner doll. They offer quick weave, sew-ins, and much, much more to fit every occasion. Need a wig? Selena's got you. She will customize a unit just for you. Book your next appointment on Booksy today. Did someone say nails? Honey, forget the Bayhive. Contact Queen Bee herself. She offers customized designer nails and even designer press-ons that she will customize and ship to you. Braids, and even twists. Book with Tiffany right on Facebook. Find your inner doll at Dollhouse Tampa Salon and Studio. Tampa. This week's episode is sponsored by Hustle and Bling. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that bling. Lovely paparazzi designer pieces for only $5. That's right, $5. And don't worry about it if the kid gets in the jewelry box. They're only $5. Make sure you catch Allison Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays live on Instagram and Facebook, promoting some of these wonderful fashion fixes that you'll enjoy. And if you miss it, check out the website. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. Hustle and Bling. Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard. Having your own TV show with Stay in Love TV has never been easier than now. Stay in Love TV gives you the power to share your message with the world. Stop watching TV and start being watched on TV. Stay in Love TV offers real-time multicasting, all with one click. This opportunity puts you on the world stage with an audience of over 200 million. In addition to your low monthly subscription fees, you will also receive monthly network coaching and training from the network itself to ensure that before your first show premieres, you are set up for success. We at Stay in Love TV bring over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, advertising, and business development. Stay in Love TV, purposeful entertainment driven by love, empowered with passion, fueled with faith. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com and let's get started. Hello everyone. I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. Welcome to the Right Along with Vanessa morning show, where we provide you 100% free coaching at your service. Raw, real enlightenment at its best. So come on in and enjoy the ride as we take you higher into the dimensions of God. It's a brand new season. We're in a brand new city. And guess what? Everything is going your way. You guys ready? Let's go! Hello, everyone. How are you? I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. Welcome to the Right Along with Vanessa morning show, where we provide you 100% free coaching at your service, raw, real enlightenment at its best. So come on in and enjoy the ride as we take you higher into the dimensions of God. How are you guys doing on this fun, fantastic, funky Friday? Fun, fantastic, funky Friday, fun, fantastic, funky Friday, fun, fantastic, funky Friday. How are you guys doing? Yay. So I decided to come to a different beach. You know, there's more than one beach here. Who knew? In the Gulfport, Biloxi, Mississippi area, but there is. So I'm in beautiful Long Beach, Mississippi, on this beautiful, fun, fantastic, funky Friday. And I kind of like it. And when I was considering moving here, when I was in Florida, I looked at this area and it's really lovely. But there was something about the house that I found. I actually found me, of course, but and when I realized how close in proximity these little towns were, I chose to stay over there because Hot Dog and I, we come over to Long Beach practically every day because there's a nice dog park here that I bring him to. So beautiful Long Beach, Mississippi. Who knew there was a Long Beach, Mississippi? But there is. And so I decided to move to the Gulfport, Biloxi area. Okay. So how you guys doing? Fun, fantastic, funky Friday. And you know what time it is. And you know what day it is. It is time for the fun, fantastic. Okay. All right. Friday song. You guys ready? A one, a two, a one, two, three. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. Yay! Things are going my way. Things are going my way. Things are going my way. Things are going your way. Things are going your way. Things are going your way. And today is the day. And today is the day. And today is the day. It is fun, fantastic, funky Friday. I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. Welcome again to the Ride Along with Vanessa morning show, where we provide you 100% free coaching at your service. Radical enlightenment at its best. So come on in and enjoy the ride as we take you higher into the dimensions of God. Yes, 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 yes. Oh boy, it's been a very interesting, busy week, some challenging for some of you. But you know what I found? And I'm still learning and growing because we never stop learning and growing while we're in this existence. But I found that when you decide to, yeah, he's on one this morning. He is on one this morning because we didn't go for the WALK because we usually go around 6:30. But at 6:30, I was putting on lip gloss and doing my TikTok for today. And he didn't get it. So he is moping and grinding. But he don't realize. See? Okay. See? Because there's been a deviation in your plans, right? Good day, Spirit, by the way. Stewart. Yeah. Hello. Hello, everybody. Good day. Because there's been a deviation in your plans, right? You may think that God has forgotten about you. You may think that nothing good is ever going to happen anymore because there's been a deviation in your plans. But let me tell you something, honey. There's a surprise waiting for you. See, he don't know that because we didn't go for our WALK today, it's because I had things. We're getting ready to go on a nice vacation. We're going back to Florida this weekend and to see my father and family and stuff, but mostly to take him to his doggy friends. But he don't know that, right? See, when things shift and change and move in your life unexpectedly, you should always be excited and be in faith in knowing that something good. Why? Because of what you've been putting in and contributing to your existence. See, he's been a good dog. He goes, he comes home, he eats his food. He's been good, right? So I've been planning these last few months for us to take a little vacation, right? He don't know that. So with a big surprise coming for him, but he don't know because he mad because we didn't go for our WALK today. But see, that's what I'm telling you. If you just keep being you and keep being your loving, kind, compassionate, Christ-filled self, and you keep staying in love, and you keep affirming and operating in joy, there's a surprise coming for you. See, it's going to seem like a surprise because you've lost sight on what was actually happening. See, he done forgot. He done forgot. All he had on his mind when he woke up on this beautiful day was going for our typical normal WAOK. But before this weekend is over, we're going to be at his favorite place where he could just enjoy his friends and bask in even more joy. See, that's what I'm saying. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about slave to the rhythm, and we're going to get to the talk in just a moment. But I had to deviate from that and encourage somebody because you know what? Yeah, just because there's been a shift and change in your plans doesn't mean that there hasn't been something cooking for you. Yeah, God's been making plans because of your contribution to that experience. See, he is the ultimate chef. You with your affirmations and your vibrations and your good attitude and your constant operating in faith and standing on the promises, right? Those are all ingredients to produce a wonderful experience for you called a blessing. But you have to understand that when there's been a change in your typical routine, there's been a shift in your life. That means that God and you have created this wonderful recipe called your promised land. And if you get with the program, you will start to see how God is moving and shifting and creating and you putting it all together just for you. Just for you. But he don't know that. He over there asleep now. Because he probably gave up. So he's asleep. But that's okay. Because God's got something cooking for you because of what you have been contributing to this experience. So get excited and remain in that state of joy and love and watch how things begin to turn and you begin to see and they begin to manifest in your life. Yes, 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 yes. Now, also, this is a very special day today, people. It is Mass Meditation Day. Did you know that? So I'm encouraging each and every one of you who are watching or listening to me. But I believe that there's no time. So whenever you hear this or whenever you see this episode, it's Mass Meditation Day. So take a few moments and sit quietly and meditate. And don't meditate on attracting material things today. Let's meditate on attracting more of Christ's presence, more of the love energy to pour down and come up from and come out of so that it can permeate us so that we can elevate higher and get the heck up out of here because this place ain't our home. It's not. It's a replication of a promise from the original time. You know, the objective was for this to be a heaven on earth. And it was to be considered our physical human heaven. But there was a slight change in the plans. But that's okay. Because if we all sync up and unify energetically, we can create this massive wave where we just elevate to a better, bigger, more aligned timeline for us to experience heaven on earth. And you have something to you have something to contribute to this experience as well, because your energy is what created all of this. So if your energy unknowingly created all of this, just imagine what your energy, when you do know that you're just that powerful, what it can create. So I encourage each and every one of you today to take 15 minutes, just meditate, and sit in gratitude and say, I don't need anything right now. I just desire to just express gratitude to you, Spirit, today. My Creator, thank you. Sit quietly in that energy. Gratitude, being thankful just for your existence. So I encourage you guys to do that today. National Meditation Day. I didn't know. But I found out. So I was like, I got to share this with everybody, right? Forgive me, Spirit, for not being as formal as I normally am. Good day, everybody. Good day, Spirit. Good day, Dr. Wayne. Good day, Stuart Wild. Good day, Catherine Kuhlman. Good day, Cousin Lewis. Good day, Cozy. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. So we are going to transition into, are we going to do the prayer today? We got to do the prayer. We got to do the prayer. Got to do the prayer. Deliverance prayer. So for 30 days, I'm encouraging you to draft up your own prayer like this. Not exactly this, because Christ said, pray like this. So this type of prayer. See, when you find out exactly what the right words and how to say, you begin to turn the key to open up the door to what you've been praying for. I wasn't intending to rhyme that, but it just came out. So when you know what right words to say, you will turn the key to open up the door to what you've been praying for. So let's do it, right? I know I am. It's going to be a very interesting weekend for me, because this is the weekend when everything starts to shift. And I'm on pins and needles. I'm on the edge of my seat, because I know that something amazing. Okay. Dear God, angels, guides, and spirits of our Almighty Creator, the source of all things, I desire not to experience this anymore. I don't desire this. And I'm not inserting what it is, because that's how you can make it general where everyone can receive, and you can just plug in what it is when you recite this privately, because don't nobody need to know your business. They just need to encourage you, right? Right. I do not desire to experience this anymore. I don't desire this to be a part of my story anymore. So I am asking for your support to get me in a space where I no longer desire this experience, where it causes no harm to my body or soul. I ask that the code be written in my spirit to where I no longer desire this experience. Thank you, God, Spirit, Creator of all things, for empowering me to meet this objective. I so desire that this is the last weekend that I have to experience this experience, because I am delivered and set free. You've done it for me before, and I know that it's done again. So, Spirit, I thank you. I thank you for rewriting the code in my soul so that I may align with no longer having this experience. Yes, yes, yes. Pray like that. Okay. Okay. So we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about today's lecture is Slave to the Rhythm. Slave to the rhythm. Slave to the rhythm. It's focused on, well, it's inspired from the children of Israel. It's a different viewpoint on that. I found this great scripture. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about it. Slave to the rhythm. Slave to the rhythm. And the title, from a Grace Jones song, that's true. But it just kind of come out like that. I wasn't planning on it, but it made sense to me because of that. I was like, slave to the rhythm. That's right. They were slaves. So we're going to be talking about that when we come back. So stay tuned. The Stay in Love TV podcast is here. Enjoy topics that will inspire, encourage, and empower you. Why not listen together? Stay in Love TV, now on Spotify. Join us next Sunday, April 30th, for another exciting episode of Spiritually Speaking and Awakening with our special guest, Irene Vaxberg. Join us, won't you? Stay in love. Would you like to become a guest on Spiritually Speaking and Awakening? Well, we would love to have you. Join in on the discussions, share your story, promote your product, service, and your upcoming event. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com. Leave your details, and we'll contact you. Get ready for your now awakening. Today's Michelleology returns, Memorial Day, only on Stay in Love TV. Join me and the great Michelle Massey Washington for another enlightening episode of Spiritually Speaking and Awakening with a very special guest, Rex Sykes, Mindset Master. Rex has over 40 years of experience helping countless thousands transform their minds, lives, and their money. Join us, won't you? Sunday, May 14th, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Stay in Love TV. That's right. That's right. We have some great guests that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. This Sunday, we have Irene Vaxberg, and you guys are going to love her story. She is going to be speaking to Quitting is Not an Option segment that we have. We're doing some things new with Spiritually Speaking and Awakening, and she agreed to join us and share her story. You know, that's basically what we're doing is sharing stories. The whole thing, the whole existence. We're just sharing stories. So what type of story do you have? If you believe that your story was just not just for you to experience, but to inspire and encourage and empower and enlighten others, then go to www.stayinlovetv.com and any information that you want to be a guest on the show, Spiritually Speaking and Awakening. Share your story. Share your product, service, or upcoming event. Share it. We'll give you a segment, and you get to speak to everything and share your story. So we're looking for you. We have a few more spots available for the Spiritually Speaking and Awakening new season. We launched last weekend with Dr. Joe D. And so grateful that she accepted, for the season premiere, the new season of Spiritually Speaking and Awakening. And it was quite a healing time. But, that's what you expect from when you in the presence of a real doctor. Healing is going to happen, right? So in the presence of a real doctor, healing is going to happen. Someone just said, that's a word. Someone said, indeed, right? So right on time, right on time. So today's lecture is Slave to the Rhythm. Where's my scripture inspiration? Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. There we go. So today's inspiration comes from, is it Numbers? Where is it? Yep, Numbers 14. Let's see if I got this, because I printed everything. I guess I should have. Let me turn this on. Okay. Yep. Numbers 14. Yep. 26-30. Okay. God spoke to Moses and Aaron. How long is this going to go on? All this grumbling against me by this evil infested community. Evil infested community. I've had my fill of complaints from these grumbling Israelites. Tell them, as I live, God now, Spirit, as I live, God's decree, here's what I'm going to do. Okay, your corpses are going to litter the wilderness. Every one of you 20 years and older who was counted in the census, this whole generation of grumblers and grousers, not one of you will enter the land and make your home there, the firmly and solemnly promised land, except for Caleb and Joshua. Out of all those years, they went going to everybody that was delivered out of from Egypt and from being enslaved by Pharaoh for 40 years. Just imagine how many people were produced over 40 years, right? And out of everybody, it went but two. And we're gonna talk about why it was only two, right? Let alone, because they're grumbling and complaining, right? But after all of that now, wouldn't you just hate it? I need to calm down. Wouldn't you just hate it that you done got this close? And because your ass didn't stop grumbling and complaining, whining, because God led you through the wilderness and you don't like your wilderness experience. Of course, no one likes change, but when you've been asking God and pleading God and all these years, God, do this for me. God, I want to be set free from this. I don't want to know, this and that. And then when he tells you, ushers you to go, and you go, and then when you leave, you start whining, complaining, crying, and not trusting. See, that was the thing, not trusting. All those years, you would have thought that they would have finally got with the program and realized, hey, this is temporary. We're not staying here. This is the wilderness. God told us we going to the promised land. So we need to shut the hell up, get in line, and get on to the promised land. Because this is not our permanent experience. This is not what God promised to us. This is not what he told us we would get to have. So either you're going to trust God or not trust God. And if you don't, and you continue whining, complaining, and grumbling, and getting all angry and all in your feelings because you don't like this experience, this temporary experience, you've lost sight, baby. You've lost sight on what God told you. God told you you was going to the promised land. God told you that you would be feasted in the land of milk and honey. God told you that. So if God told you that, you need to hold on to that, catch on to it, and not let it go. And at every experience, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, you know it's only temporary because you know that God promised you. But because of your previous experience, because you were coming from being a slave. Okay, so think about that. Being a slave, imprisoned in your mind, because you think that those years when you were just grinding at the wheel called your life, wishing that things would get better for you, wishing that there was a God out there that heard your cries at night, grinding, you were enslaved to this rhythm called being enslaved. This rhythm called grinding, just going through the motions, just having to endure the suffrage from a Pharaoh, just going. No joy in your life. Nothing. Up, back, round and round. Same old, same old. Slave to the rhythm called your suffering. Just slave. It is constant. And your heart's been crying out. And you said you decided you was just gonna start praying and asking for God to deliver you out of this experience. So you've been grinding. And then when time comes for God to tell you, let's go, that you don't have enough confidence and enough courage and enough creativity to understand that God's got you. Then when as soon as you get in the wilderness and you just get a taste of it, you won't be able to endure it because you did not firmly allow what God promised you and what he told you to get engraved in your spirit and in your cells so that that's all you feel and know. Then you're going to get this message from God. I've had my fill of complaints from these grumbling Israelites. Are you an Israelite? Are you a grumbling Israelite? He said, as I live, Here's what I'm going to do. You don't want God to finally get so tired, sick and tired of you whining and complaining and crying and mumbling and all in your feelings instead of fully trusting him. How much shit you think he can put up with because you don't want to get in line? Because you don't want to hold on to what God promised you and know for sure, for certain, that it's going to happen. How long you got to go through it? How many stories you got to hear? He said, your corpses are going to litter the wilderness. You will die in that wilderness experience if you don't get with the program. What's the program? Standing on God's promises. Operating in joy and love and faith and courage. That in spite of whatever I'm going through, I know God's got me. And I know it sucks when you have to go through stuff. But God, good gracious, when you realize this place ain't our home, then you know that everything is only temporary. Not one of you will enter the land and make your home there. He said, you're going to die in the wilderness. He issued a decree. God got so sick and tired because, see, what happened was, when they first left, they was excited. They said, God's taking us promised land, but see, God didn't tell them how long they was going to have to go through it. Now, they had never been there. I'm presuming that they never been there. So they didn't know how long it was going to take. And that's the great thing. And that's what faith is all about. You don't know how long you go have to experience and endure what you have to do. But if you get with the program, you will cycle through that process much quicker. And when you come out, you're going to end up just where you're supposed to be. It ain't going to be in no garbage can either. Because God don't operate like that. He rewards faith. He rewards confidence. So he told him, your corpses are going to litter the wilderness. It's going to be so many of you left in here and left in this mess. You don't want to die in your mess. You want to cycle through so you can finally repurpose that mess into a message. I remember. I know I got a million stories. And, grumbling and complaining. And you know what? It just ain't sexy. Whining. That ain't sexy. But I had a shitty attitude because I was angry. And I was like, come on. I was like the prodigal son. Where's mine? Where's my promise, God? I'm sitting there doing all this and doing. God, that don't impress me. That don't impress me much. He said, you know what impresses me? Faith. That's what impresses me. So whining and complaining, bitching and moaning does not impress God at all. All it does is get on his last nerve to the point where he going to issue a decree like this in your life. And that's when you don't want this decree. You don't want this. Numbers 14, 26 through 30. You don't want that one. You want the one where he said, arise and shine for your light is come. You want the one where he says no good thing will he withhold before you. You want the one where he said your blessings shall overtake you. You want that one. You don't want Numbers 14, 26 to 30. It was a whole generation of grumblers and growlers. A whole generation of people who finally got just contaminated with the funk called the lack of faith. And it destroyed an entire generation. So are you going to allow your attitude? See, you don't know who you are influencing with your attitude. See, you think while you, sharing your woes to somebody, you releasing that energy, right? That energy got to go somewhere. And it's going to go to the nearest soul who does not have control over their lordship over their body and their spirit, where they keep stuff from penetrating to them. So that energy of you whining and complaining is going out into this space, and it's going to land on somebody and influence them for the worse. A whole generation. Y'all remember when they first got out of the desert? Let's see if I can find that scripture. When they first got out of the desert and they started, when they started complaining about the water and no water and all that kind of stuff. See, it's hindsight's 2020. See, so right then and there, that person that was causing the influence, those people should have been just annihilated. Look, you're not a part of this group because you are trying to contaminate what God told us. See, you got to start understanding. You got to get rid of. You've got to protect. Thank you. You've got to protect your promise at all cost. So if someone is around you and they're opposing, that's what that is. They are opposing what God promised you. You need to get them out of your life permanently. You don't even want them in your presence. Only positive vibes around me, baby. Don't be coming around me with this mess. Because look what God said. So he told them, he said, not one of you will enter the land and make your home there. The firmly and solemnly promised land that I told you about, that I told you where we was going, that I told you won't never. Let me see if I can find that scripture, because this is what he promised them, right? This is what he said. Okay. So he told them, I'm going to give you to a land for milk and honey. So he told them what God promised you while you were enslaved, while you were in your previous experience, everything that God promised you in your previous experience. See, you've got the promise, you've got the wilderness, and you've got the promised land. So you've got, while you are in your past, you need to go through the wilderness to get to your future. Hell in the hallway, Pastor Jensen. You're going to have some hell in the hallway. But what kind of hell is it? It's that kind of wilderness hell that'll get all that stuff that I collected in my spirit before, while I was in Egypt. See, the wilderness was supposed to remove and kill and eliminate and get rid of and shed off all that residue that had permeated your spirit for 400 years. See, so when you put it on perspective, you say, you know what? If it's going to take me 5 years or whatever, since there's no time, you shouldn't really get wrapped up in it. You should be focused on what actually is happening, right? So you should look at the perspective of your past, right? So you were in Egypt. You were enslaved. You were enslaved. So everything that requires transformation. That's all that is. The wilderness is designed to transform you from a slave to a son. But God said, not y'all. Not one of you. Except Caleb and Joshua. So I said, really? Only two. So I Googled the meaning of Caleb. You know what the meaning of Caleb is? It has immense religious significance with biblical references, such as faithful, wholehearted, bold, brave, and devotion to God. Let me say that again. Caleb, faithful, wholehearted, bold, brave, and devotion to God are just some of the meanings of his name, just some of them. But God, I saw Faithful, wholehearted, bold, brave, and devotion. I mean, that's enough for me to get it. That lets me know that I need to be faithful, wholehearted, bold, brave, and devoted to God. You need to get devoted, hopelessly devoted to you. You need to get hopelessly devoted to God. When you do that, that qualifies you to enter the land of milk and honey. That qualifies you to cycle through that wilderness experience. Being bold, faithful, wholehearted, brave, and devoted to God qualifies you to cross over into your promises, to cross over into what you've been affirming and visualizing and speaking and standing on in joy. It qualifies you, right? Joshua, Jehovah is my salvation, or God saves. The name Yeshua was used by Jesus Christ in his own time and language, sharing the same roots as Joshua, which is also used by Joshua. So Joshua is kind of a symbol of Christ, okay, of God, salvation. So that means that God's salvation rewards, God saves those who are faithful, wholehearted, bold, brave, and hopelessly devoted to him. I'm using him loosely because we all know where God is and what he is. He's a spirit. But you need to get hopelessly devoted to the spirit within you, the God in you, because it's going to qualify. It's what qualifies you. Grumbling and complaining, whining and moaning, all in your feelings does not qualify you to cross over into God's salvation, which is his promised land. A land flowing with milk and honey. That means you got that and then some. That's where you want to get to. And I'm telling you how to get there. You got to be faithful. You got to be wholehearted. You got to be bold, brave, and hopelessly devoted to God. That's the word for the day. Hopelessly devoted to God. You need to get there, because when you do, it's going to qualify you for God's salvation and for you to cross over into your promised land. But I need to share this with you, okay? It was never intended, excuse me, it was never intended for you to dwell where you are now. Never. You weren't supposed to stay there. And he already told them, you're going to be enslaved for 400 years. So he set a time. So when the time came for them to move, they should have got excited. They got excited for about 5 minutes. And then when they started enduring a little trial and suffering and going through, they started complaining, which let me know they weren't qualifying themselves. They were not qualified. So God endured for 40 years. He put up with the whining, complaining, and bitching and moaning for 40 years. And he said, you know what? I've had enough. And he issued a decree. If you don't get to the point where you are sensitive to the times and the seasons and the rhythms of your life, you will miss out and you will disqualify yourself from finally experiencing all that's been birthed in your spirit. There's a reason why. See, that's God signing his name across your heart, letting you know what's promised to you, letting you know that this is what I have for you, letting you know that this is what's written in your story. So he gonna sign his name across your heart by sealing the deal. So when you get that vision of what God promised you, yet you sitting on a pile of nothing and your life is all hell and everything's falling apart and all that, you need to hold on to what God promised you and what he signed off on in your heart. It was their grumbling, whining, and complaining, and also their rebellion. Because you know what happened with that doggone bull? They made a bull out of gold, which means lets me know their perspectives were off. Their perspectives, see, they brought all that stuff with them, right, in the wilderness, because they knew it shouldn't take long. But because they held up They held up the journey with their whining and complaining. And they all, while they were doing that, they got comfortable in the desert. And then they built them an idol. So that lets you know, out of gold, that lets you know that they come out of Egypt and they still had that Egypt residue on it. They were caught up in those practices of the world, of what Egypt represented, right? So they never allowed the benefits of the wilderness. They never adopted and accepted the benefits and the value from the wilderness experience. They just kept on being who they were. So then all they were doing when they were going through those experiences was just revealing to them their true nature and character. Instead of allowing it to die there, they died there. They lost sight of the vision of what God promised because they were too enslaved to the rhythm called Egypt. Because that lets you know when they made that bull and started worshiping it, they totally lost their sight on God. So this says to me that although they wanted to leave Egypt, they didn't want to do what was necessary to get Egypt out of them. They brought Egypt with them in the wilderness. They didn't leave it behind. And God was, he said it, and it was symbolic of the ocean parting and then ocean drowning and completely putting a divide between them and Egypt. God gonna get you out of your Egypt enslaved experience, right? And then he gonna mark it in the sand. No more, you're not going back. You're going forward. So however you're going through it, hold on to the promise that what God wrote on your heart for you. Hold on to that. Because where you are, it's only temporary. But God cannot get you to what he promised you if you're whining, complaining, bitching and moaning continues. It's going to disqualify you. And when it does, you will know it. Because you'll hear God's decree somehow. You will hear it. And I just, oh, Almighty God, Creator, Spirit, I choose this day to only express gratitude and love and courage because I am hopelessly devoted to you, God, because I know that you are in me. See, you have to be hopelessly devoted to the joy. He told you the joy of the Lord. See, you need to make this a temple of joy and love. And that's going to unite where it creates this expression and feeling of being hopelessly devoted to God, the God in you. See, when you finally get like that, man, you'll cycle through experiences, what appears to be challenges and setbacks and all that nonsense. You'll cycle through that mess so quick, it won't even feel like you experienced nothing. I'm going to leave you all with this scripture, these two, Exodus 13:3. Exodus 13:3. Let me put the scriptures here so you guys can see it, so you can take notes or whatever. Exodus 13:3. Then Moses said to the people, remember this day in which you went out of Egypt. Do you remember? God got you out. And you finally knew that he answered your prayer. You were on to a new journey. In which you went out of Egypt, out of the land where you were made to stay and work. That's the Message translation. Do you remember the day when God brought you out of the land where you were made to stay and work, to a land of where you have flexibility, to a land where there's constant increase in your life, to a land of promise. Do you remember that? He says, he told him, he says, remember when I brought you out? Then he says, 14, Exodus 14, 13 to 14. He says, don't be afraid. Stand firm and watch God do his work of salvation for you today. Take a good look at the Egyptians today, for you're never going to see them again. See, that should make you leap for joy right there. When God finally delivers you from that mess and tells you you will never see them again. You're never going to experience this again. But you have to go through the wilderness, my loves. You got to go through it. Allow it to do what it needs to do for you, because it's going to qualify you, assist you with qualifying you, because it's going to honor you being brave and bold and devoted to God and faithful and wholeheartedly. I want to say fearless. It's going to qualify you. But if you don't, you're going to die and litter the wilderness. Your corpse going to litter the wilderness. So you're going to die in the wilderness if you don't stop whining and complaining and bitching and moaning. I'm telling you, you need to realize what this is. It's all an experience, right? All of it. It's all an experience. Think of yourself as being evaluated by a higher authority. Like you're under a microscope and they're evaluating you. How are you behaving? How are you being human? So just imagine that. And this is just an experience. And I'm not alone. And I know that I know that the God in me has given me the victory. And in spite of whatever it is I'm experiencing today, I know that God's got me. I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, that no good thing God. You see what I'm doing? While you going through all that hell, stop whining and complaining and start quoting and start affirming and start getting into that space called faith. And you're gonna affirm your way out of your mess. It's all about what you say. And if you don't get it, and you just want to ride that ride called grumbling and whining and complaining, oh, my life sucks and this and that, and I just can't take it anymore, and this and that. Okay, look, I get it. We all fall apart. We fall down, but we get back up. Get up. Reposition. Realign yourself. And get in alignment with faith. Get in alignment. And get out of a line of fear. Get in the line of faith. And walk that straight, narrow line of faith by being consistent in what you are reciting. Guys, it's my intention that what I share with you will empower and equip and encourage you. I am a coach. I am a coach preacher. Okay? I am a coach. I'm not going to tell you everything to make you feel good. I'm going to tell you what Spirit is downloading to me to impart to you to what you need to get you to your promised land, to get you into finally experiencing the good life. So, we'll stop hollering. Done that in a while. Must be something someone really needs to hear today. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you for sharing. I want to thank you for caring. And join us Sunday. It's a very special episode of Spiritual Speaking and Awakening for Irene Vaxberg. Her wonderful story of courage and triumph and never giving up. And she's such a delightful being. You're going to enjoy her story. And you're going to, when you're done watching the episode, you are going to realize that in spite of whatever it is you're going through, There's always someone else who's experienced worse. But what her experience did for her was it just made her even more joyful, and her perspective on it. So you're gonna love it. So join us Sunday, 7 p.m. Uh, Eastern Standard Time, right here on Stay in Love TV for Spiritually Speaking and Awakening. Irene Baxberg. And next Sunday, you guys know, our dog and I are going on a little vacation, so we're not going to be doing any live shows. We're going to be running restreams. So next Sunday we'll do that, but then we'll come back on the 14th with the great Rex Sykes, Mindset Master. Oh, I got turned on to Rex when I was a couple years ago in Clubhouse, when Clubhouse kicked off, back in 2020, everything started popping off. So I joined a room, right? And this was before I joined a room and I was listening to him speak. And it's like listening to, those professors in college. He has that type of tone where what he shares with you, it's just going to leave you feeling so much better. And you're going to learn something. So Rex is going to be joining us May 14th on Spiritually Speaking and Awakening. And he's going to be talking to us. And his segment is Getting the Right Mind, because he's a mindset master. So he's going to give you tools and tips and words of wisdom that's going to help you get your mind right. Get the right one. The mind that's set, right? He's a mindset. So he helps to solidify your way of thinking into what it should be thinking. So you guys are going to get so excited. I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be live, and I'm looking forward to it because he accepted the offer, and I'm just incredibly grateful. So thank you, Rex. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Dr. Joe D. I mean, we're kicking off Spiritually Speaking and Awakening. Yes. So you guys you're going to want to tune in. Stay in Love TV, and you can download the app. It's available on iOS and Android. So go to any of your stores on your mobile device, download Stay in Love TV for free, and you get to catch us live and all the other shows that we have streaming currently. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for sharing and caring. And until when we come back on the 12th, but enjoy the restreams if you haven't seen it. We'll come back live on the 12th of May for another episode of Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show. But until then, I want to thank each and every one of you. And may you allow this day to really allow it to do what it needs to do for you in your spirit. Sit quietly, meditate for 15 minutes. It's National Meditation Day. And let's send up some good vibrations out into this atmosphere so that we can evolve up out of here. Okay. I'm Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. And until next time, stay in love, everybody. Think that you are encountering resistance, but actually from your external world, but actually that's your world telling you this ain't it. The Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show streams Fridays, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay in love. Hello, writers. I've partnered with Queen Beauty Studio to purchase these amazing lashes and other deliciousness, like this wonderful matte lipstick I'm wearing. Grab that link. You'll be glad you did. Stay in love. Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard. Having your own TV show with Stay in Love TV has never been easier than now. Stay in Love TV gives you the power to share your message with the world. Stop watching TV and start being watched on TV. Stay in Love TV offers real-time multicasting, all with one click. This opportunity puts you on the world stage with an audience of over 200 million. In addition to your low monthly subscription fees, you will also receive monthly network coaching and training from the network itself to ensure that before your first show premieres, you are set up for success. We at Stay in Love TV bring over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, advertising, and business development. Stay in Love TV, purposeful entertainment driven by love, empowered with passion, fueled with faith. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com and let's get started.